Hi, everybody. This is Sean Heideman, designated broker with Position Realty. Today I'm recording my Phoenix real estate market report for the month of April 2024. The reports are always a month behind because of the collection of the data. We go from one month to the other. We're in May right now, so April is over. So I will be presenting the information for April. Just remember, if you like the information that I present, is make sure you subscribe to the button below so that you will be notified whenever I post a new video through YouTube. So let's get started with the report. I have some articles here from the Phoenix Business Journal regarding some development that's going on in the Phoenix area. There's rezoning, paved way to redevelop the former Motorola semiconductor plant. So that's in the works. It's going to be turned into a industrial, commercial, commerce park. Thousands of new downtown apartments are coming to the market. Phoenix has preliminary plans to redevelop a downtown intersection. Fender Guitars is breaking grounds on a flagship office this year, reimagining a mall. So Paradise Valley Mall, they tore that down, and they are vendors going in there. The e-commerce giant Amazon has a huge lease in the West Valley that they are taking over a retail center there. It's 1.2 million square feet. The lease is for 10 years at the Cubes at Glendale Industrial Park. So over there off of northern by the freeway. Near Deer Valley, industrial growth surge continues near the airport. A semiconductor supplier. LG Energy Solutions secures critical financing for a huge Arizona battery plant out in Queen Creek area. Home Depot, Dick's Sporting Goods could be the next, and could be next for Buckeye. So they are putting Home Depot out there. Peoria is next up for major growth in the West Valley. The city leaders are positioning 83,000 acres of state trust land as a major development hotspot in the metropolitan Phoenix. That's in the Peoria area. Developers wrapping up the first phase of spiraling 5-building Mesa Industrial Park out there by Williams Gateway Industrial Park. That's been going on for quite a while with the commercial, retail, and industrial. And then Light Surge Properties received rezoning approval for a major channel or industrial park. 85,000 acres across 2 acres near Arizona Avenue and Ryan. So there's some development going on out there. So as you can see, a lot of employers, a lot of people are coming in. Development is going on here in the Phoenix area. So definitely a lot of stuff going on here. Why is Peoria next up for major growth? Well, over by the Loop 303 and the SR 74 or Carefree Highway, more towards the west. So here's the I-17 right here, more towards the west area here. It looks like this is probably Lake Pleasant Parkway. It goes up this way, and then Lake Pleasant is over this way. So towards this area, you have a lot of development going on here. So they're planning a regional economic development hub with land designated for Peoria Innovation Core. So a lot of semiconductor companies, a lot of technology companies are supposedly being planned for development out in that area. So investors, if you are in the market to buy a long-term hold or even land, out here would be a good opportunity for you, or a good hedge to bet on for investment. Affordability in the Phoenix market area, metropolitan area. So we have nationwide, Phoenix, and we're comparing Los Angeles. Affordability in Los Angeles, as we all know, has not been that great. So Phoenix is the blue, and then nationwide is 37. So we are even below nationwide. We crossed the threshold of affordability back in, looks like first or second quarter of 2021. So we have not been affordable here in the Valley for quite a while. Um, so hopefully things will change as incomes rise here, or more employment is coming into the market. But so 2.74% of homes sold were affordable to families in the Greater Phoenix area earning areas median income of $99,000. So only 21.7% of all homes were sold were affordable for families. And this equates to $2,310 a month for a family, equating $99,000 a year, depending on obviously the size of the home and the price of the home. But yeah, that's affordability. And consumer price index, or inflation, is continuing to go up. So I'm sure everybody has been at the grocery stores like myself. I'm still seeing things go up. Like orange juice, I used to buy $1, one of those frozen cans. It's now $2.40, so it's even doubled in price. But inflation is still going up, and but our Federal Reserve is trying to, stop the inflation. So a good way to hedge inflation. In the past, gold and bonds and silver used to be a good hedge or protection from inflation, but not anymore. And so now real estate is a good hedge. And I will get into some of the slides to show why that's the case. Properties or stocks are a good hedge against inflation. What is the CPI inflation? So the way that our government is calculating the inflation amount. So we have housing, which is actually a major component of the CPI calculation for inflation. We have food and beverage, and then transportation, and then some other. So this 45.1% is made up of rent of primary residence and owner's equivalent of rent of residence. So if you own a property, the owner's equivalent would be how much you would be paying in rent in order to live in that property. So owner's equivalent is that. So the 45.1% is made up of renting. It's not made up of mortgages and interest rates and stuff like that. It's owner's equivalent of rent that goes into that factor. Inflation for homeowners versus renters. So if you are a renter, inflation is 5.8 cents since 2021 was shelter. Next slide, inflation for homeowners versus renters. Inflation rate is 2.1% for June. Consumer price of all items, including shelter, is 2.1%. This one is a consumer price index for all urban consumers, all items in the U.S. city averages. So, okay, so this is the U.S. average, and this is the U.S. average as well. So it says here, homeowners do not rent. Shelter component does not affect them. Rent. Zero rent if paid with cash. So if you buy a home with cash, there's no owner's equivalent. Zero mortgage payments increase for 30 years. Purchasing a home versus renting is the first step to hedging inflation. Retirees who own their home are far better in the face of inflation than those who rent. So people that are renting are in that equation of the CPI inflation. As demand increases for rent, then your rents also go up, and so you're seeing more and more of that. But if you own, your mortgage payment would be fixed for 30 years, so you're more protected. But then our government takes homeowners and takes an owner equivalent of what you would be paying in rent for the home. Mortgage rates. So I know since last week rates have come down a little bit, but mortgage rates are around 7.4% for conventional and 6.88%. So FHA is lower than the conventional financing, and it looks like it's been that way for quite a while. So if you're looking at buying a home, definitely talk to your mortgage lender about FHA mortgage. Mortgage rates prediction. So the mortgage rates report is predicting that in May, June, rates are going to start coming down, which they have gone down, but we'll have to wait and see what happens a few more months on down the road, see where the trend is going. Fannie Mae is predicting 6.3%. National Homeowners Builders is predicting about 6.4%. Wells Fargo and these other national banks are predicting it's going to be at 6.6%. So if you're planning on buying, maybe you should wait a little bit longer and wait until rates come down a little bit more, and just kind of wait for later on this year. Federal funds rate and the 10-year Treasury bond and 2-year bond. I think I've discussed this before. So the 2-year bond is above the 10-year bond. Normally, the 10-year bond is above the 2-year. So people are getting this is called an inversion. So people are getting more of a return on a 2-year bond as opposed to a 10-year bond. So when you buy a bond, you buy for 10 years, you're taking a higher risk. So you would expect a higher return for the additional risk that you're taking. But of the 2-year bond, you can get a better interest rate on that. So we call this a yield curve inversion. And then here's historically. So when there's a recession declared, then the federal funds rate goes down and the inversion stops, and the 10-year bond goes down below, or the 2-year bond goes below the 10-year. So the mortgage rates are based off of the 10-year bond. So what we want is this federal funds rate to go down and the 10-year and the 2-year bond to go down. And a recession is not going to be called until unemployment rises. So the government is keeping a very close eye on unemployment and the 2-year bond for the inversion. So once unemployment goes up, then they will be in a recession, and the 2-year and 10-year bond will go down, and same thing with mortgage rates. So unemployment is a good thing, I guess, for our economy. So how is Phoenix doing? So Phoenix, as far as unemployment, is 2.5%. Nationwide is 3.8%. Here's non-seasonal adjusted. I'm not sure these are why these are two different ones, but 3.2%, 3.6%. The labor force. So Phoenix overall is doing pretty good. As beginning of the presentation, we saw a lot of the unemployment going into the Phoenix area. So unemployment in Phoenix is a good place to be if you want to stay employed. But other states are unemployment is going up. Average spread of the 30-year bond and the 10-year bond. So the spread right now is quite a bit of a spread there. Normally, it's not as much of a spread. But so we want to see that gap kind of close up a little bit as far as the 30-year mortgage and the 10-year yield. Except as far as accepted contracts, look back and see how we were dealing with last year. So we're right where we should be, right around last year. So we're just kind of chugging along as far as purchases, same as last year. A little bit worse. We had a little bit of a spike back in 2023. I believe this was a time when interest rates back then were down, but now their interest rates are high. So interest rates have a big factor in accepted contracts and people buying right now. Okay, so as far as the Crawford Market Index, this takes into account supply and demand, and it comes up with a market index. So when you're in the green, we're in a seller's market. So right now it is about 30% below normal. If we want to be normal, it would be in the 100% range. and demand, we're about 20% below normal. So as you see, supply is going up, the demand trend is kind of flat, and the overall market index is going downward. So we are going towards a balanced buyer's market right now, but demand is just remains flat as supply is going up. And this is just another chart. Just kind of shows you chart-wise as far as the difference between supply and demand. So supply is higher, or supply is down, and demand is just staying flat. Okay, and so here is the market index. So as you see that we're going towards a balanced market. So for flippers, you want to make sure that you're definitely, I think that's one of the next slides. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you're within 30% or 70% ARV when you're buying a property in order in case that prices do go down. Right now, there's some competition that's come in the market, so you're probably able to buy it around 85% of ARV, but you want to get that as close to 70% as possible. Comfort Market Index, if you're curious about which markets that you could get the best deal in. Right now, Paradise Valley, Surprise is a balanced market, and Buyer's Market is Cave Creek, which is a surprise. Goodyear, Queen Creek, Maricopa, and Buckeye. And then our other buyers markets: Casa Grande, Gold Canyon, Sun City West, Sun City, and Arizona City. All these other markets are still in a seller's market, so you're going to have some more competition in those markets. Appreciation. So this shows you from May of 22 to April 23. We're down 8.9%. Then since April of 23 and now we are up 6.1% based on the median price. Here is a little bit longer, April 2021 to April of 23, so 3 years, we're up 21.3%. So if you bought around here, you're still underwater. But if you bought 3 years ago, you're in good shape. And then if you bought only a year ago, you're in good shape as well. You probably gained a little bit of equity in the home. And then here's appreciation based on price per square foot. There's two different ways of calculating it. So April 22, 7.7%. But then April now, it's 9.7%. This does take into effect the luxury home component. And then so here's your 3 year, you're up 23.6%. So if you bought around April 2021, your home has gone up about 26%. So those charts take in the effect luxury home. Luxury homes are considered over 2,500 square feet. These are all under square feet. So from 3 years ago, you're up 21.5%. 2 years ago, 4.8%. You're down. So if you bought around this time, you're in bad shape. But if you bought a year ago, you're up 6.2%. This is taking out all luxury homes. And now this is for luxury homes. Luxury homes has gone up a lot more, 34.5% and 14.1% a year ago. Single family permits, looks like permits are up. New home builders are optimistic in our market, probably because of all the employment centers and development that's going on around the valley. So they are taking out more and more permits to build new homes. Concessions. So 45% of all transactions had a concession involved in the transaction, and average concession is about $9,000. January was around 10, so we're around $9,000 right now. So if you are submitting offers, you want to make sure that you do try to get a concession from the seller. You can use that to buy down your interest rate, or you can do a 3 year interest rate reduction to help you out that way. So definitely want to do that. And then if you want to know what markets are best to get concessions, Mirage looks like 87%. Superior, Palo Verde, Phoenix, 87%, and all the way down to Glendale, 65% of percentage closings with seller paid concessions. So 65% of transactions in Glendale all had seller concessions. So definitely want to ask for that. That can help you out big time with your affordability factor of buying a home. But this concludes the presentation. If you like what I presented, make sure you subscribe to the button below. I also have all my contact information, my social media, and other ways to get a hold of me under the More Information tab. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for the next video.